Glad to have you stick around with us, and the show is about to begin. But before then, let us get to introduce who we have this morning that will be dealing with the papers that we have for you today. Though we'll be starting with news making rounds on ABS website. And we have in the studio here this morning our guest, Chidubem Ezekwe, a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Chidubem. I think, can I say Happy New Year because we've not seen since the beginning of this year?
Yes. Happy New Year. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
You're welcome to the studios of Good Morning, Anambra.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Quickly, let's run with the stories making rounds on ABS website. And the first story we have here this morning, Anambra governorship election. More new members join ABGA in Ekulumili, Newi South Council area. CVR, Anambra State Assembly Speaker, Right Honorable Udeze urges eligible residents to participate. Annual music concert, stakeholders urge youth to use talent to serve God and humanity. Also, we have Bank of Industry targets interventions in health sector to curb medical tourism and brain drain. Tinubu optimistic of reducing inflation, promoting economic stability. Also, we have US to terminate deportation protections for Hondurans and Nicaraguans. And on the sporting side, we have FIFA Club World Cup. Chelsea battled Brazilian giant Fluminense. And then we have Australian woman convicted of murder of estranged husband's parents. Wow, interesting. Quickly, that's all we have for you this morning on ABS website. The much we can take. Let's dive into the one that concerns everyone. Talking about Tinubu's optimistic of reducing inflation and promoting.
I was just wondering why you were reading out how he intends to do that.
He's the president. He has the wherewithal. He has the headgear that are feeding him with all the templates on how the economy is. And at the same time, well, let's get to hear what our analyst has to say about that.
Okay. That he's
optimistic, yeah, of reducing inflation.
Okay, that's nice. That's very nice. Over time, questions pop into the heads of viewers. Questions pop into the heads of listeners. Questions as to how, as to when, as to where, as to what. And these are salient questions that you cannot avoid. Inflation for a month of Sundays has been a recurring decimal. It has been a recurring decimal. Every government comes in, they preach their gospel, they propagate their gospel. They tell you that this is how they intend to do this, and that is how they're going to do it. But I wouldn't really say much about that. Let's just watch and see what happens. I don't really have much to say about that.
All right, I think we look into Anambra State Assembly Speaker, Right Honorable Udeze urges eligible residents to participate in the continuous voter registration, which is beginning today. You know, before we came on air, I was like, why would Nigeria wait until every election, to start continuous voter registration exercise? That Nigerians turn out 18 every day, and there are offices, INEC offices here and there. Nigerians could easily walk into their offices to register and let them print the documents when they deem fit. What do you think?
Exactly. Which brings me to the second laughable axiom that exists in Nigeria. Extremely laughable axiom. We perambulate, we malinga all we want, we pretend. Then when it is time for business, we begin to opine, we begin to smile, we begin to whine. The question is, what is the duty of INEC? I think on their own path, on their own side, it is a bilateral peregrination. The blame has to go that way. the blame goes to the citizens in a way, and the blame goes to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Because if you are asking questions, let's take for example, JAM. People protested. Come on, I scored 241 last year, and I was upset. I decided to resit, and now I'm scoring 80. And people began to say, yes, it's true, this is true, this is true, this is true. And it was discovered that it was an opprobrious, ignominious glitch, a ridiculous glitch that should be poo-pooed by everybody. And it was investigated. Oh, it's true. And the question is, who knows for how long this nonsense has been going on? If those people did not protest, if they did not raise alarm, it would have remained clandestine. It would have been nicodemously done. It would have been surreptitiously done, as it remains a bona fide beneficiary of longevity. That's by the way. Now, INEC, I think the enlightenment aspect of this game, the electoral pedagogy, you are supposed to, through the enlightenment, there is supposed to be a program, enlightenment program, importance of voting, this is your fundamental human rights, this is your franchise, the electoral value that you possess. Because most people out there, ask them, okay, I was at an event on the 15th of March. I was guest speaker, and I asked alliance questions. Every day, it climbs, it goes up, it takes the entire scenario. Everybody raises his or her voice and says it vaingloriously and superciliously, and it sounds so loud. The question is, how many youths have made effort to get their permanent voter's card? Number one. How many youths even know the importance of voting? How many youths even want to know the importance of voting? Because when we were in school, in the basic school, formerly known as primary school, elementary school at some point, we are told that E.T. is somebody who is still trying to know, but he doesn't know. Itiako, you don't know, but you are trying to know. You don't want to know, you don't even know, you don't want to know.
I think this voter registration issue is a very big topic for discussion.
Honestly.
You know,
honestly,
because a lot. One thing is encouraging Anambra to participate in the registration. Another thing is them getting their cards after registration.
Exactly.
All right, let's leave that. We leave it at that now.
There's a lot to say. There's a lot. Very good topic.
All right, let's move on now to the first paper for review this morning, the Daily Times newspaper. The banner headline there says, NLC threatens showdown over Osun local government fund diversion. We have other stories there. APC plotting to cripple opposition meets state party chairman, ADC alleges. UK and Nigeria have built enduring educational partnership. Deputy High Commissioner speaking. Equities investors gain 192.85 billion naira as ASI rises 0.25%. Governor stipulates with RMAFC for increased allocation to state. And the alleged drug deal, Court adjourns Abakiari's trial till July 24. FG channels subsidy gains into infrastructure, economic reforms. That's coming from Tinubu. Okay, we have teachers strike. No alert, no resumption. NUT tells Wike.
Good.
The same issue that the very dark man went to Abuja to protest. So nothing has been done since then.
You know, it was so hilarious to me and painful at the same time. You know that oxymoronic tendency when something goes left and right. First, it is not the duty of the FCT minister to see to it that those salaries are paid. That is what I discovered. It is the duty of the council chairman. The FCT minister's job is to come as an intercessor. That's his job. And according to him, he has looked into it. I don't know whether it's true. I don't know whether it's not true. But according to him, he has looked into it. But that is that. Now, to the issue of APC plotting to cripple opposition, meets state party chairman, ADC alleges. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. Okay. When I saw the coalition, I smiled. I called a lot of people close to me and I told them to look at the video. Look at the individuals in the coalition. Who are they? The people that we are responsible for the profligacy in the country. The people who are responsible for crippling the economy. The people who are responsible for the maniacal bewilderment that has bedeviled the entire Nigerian ship of state for a month of Sundays. And now the ones telling us that they want to save Nigeria. Same thing happened in 2013.
Are you not?
Will
you be surprised because God can use anybody.
I am not disputing the fact that God
can use anybody.
It is explicitly incontrovertible. But I remember 2013, a faction of ABGA, a faction of PDP, some parts of ANPP, CPC, and the then ACN came together and formed the All Progressives Congress, known today as APC. Now, some founding members of that APC ran back to PDP because it wasn't business as usual. I want fellow Nigerians to understand certain things. When politicians who were in power for a long time suddenly disappear from the corridors and the piazza of power for a short time, and they suddenly begin to find faults, at certain intervals, know that something is wrong somewhere. What am I trying to say? Now, I don't want to mention the name of somebody right now, but there is somebody in that coalition. You were in the Senate for 20 years. You were even at the helm of affairs in that particular place. The road to your hometown is not hard. What happened to charity begins at home. Now, with what voice, with what tone, with what panache and exorbitant enthusiasm, with what rampacious exuberance, with what guts, with what audacity will you use to tell the Nigerian masses that you want to be the pilot that is going to catapult them to that Eldorado? With what guts? Now, to the point of plotting to cripple oppositions, it makes me laugh. Look, I laugh anytime I see somebody going to fight a wrestler with pen and paper.
So in other words, what are you saying
What
in essence?
Is this. The Nigerian ship of state, according to some people, is crippled, is in a state of dystopia. And the only way you can wrestle that thing is to do like them. Like go there, fight them. See, 2023 should have taught us a lesson for those that wanted to learn. I expected, okay, you people respect power shift. The People's Democratic Party respects power shift according to their constitution, north and south. Then when it comes to the south, they can now micro-zone to southeast or south or southwest. Same goes to the north, northwest, northeast, north central. 2023 was when I expected this language. The Atiku Abubakar, okay, I have been running since 1992. Go backward. It's time for the south. Somebody from the south, president. Somebody from the north, vice president. It would have been a magnificent combo. It would have been a largiflous combo, a supercalifragilistic combo. But they didn't do it. And now, you have remembered that you should do coalition. That is why I call it DOA. All right. It's just a joke.
All right.
Now, okay. One more thing. We take this way and we take that way. And we forget that we have indirectly taken that way and gone the other way. What actually stops us from telling ourselves the truth? Why are we just deceiving the whole country? 3 members. Okay, now look at the 2023 election results. 8.7 million APC, 6.9 million PDP, 6.1 million Labour Party, 1.4 million NNPP. And the member of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Gregory Obi of Labour Party, and Rabiu Musa Kwangwaso of NNPP were all members, formerly members of the PDP. 3 members of the PDP came together and generated 14.4 million votes divided. And 1 member of APC came together and generated 8.7 million votes. I believe the answer is already there. You can pretend all you want, you can go realistic all you want, but when you are being realistically correct, try to be politically correct as well, so that you can be able to tally and acclimatize to what's happening there. If 3 members of PDP can separate and gather 14 million votes against one person's 8.7 million votes, that should tell you where we are going. Now, inside the coalition, what is going on? I will do 4 years and then to go back to this place. I will do 4 years to go back to this place. That tells you that we are still wallowing in that miasma.
A house divided against itself. Okay.
They cannot stand.
Okay.
Let them stop playing.
Okay.
When they are serious, we will know.
All right, the next paper for review.
We'll be taking the Punch newspaper and the Daily Independent quickly. And the Punch, the banner headline is telling us 20 states at risk despite 620 billion intervention. That's talking about the July flood alert. And then we have the rider there saying NIMET focused flooding in Lagos, Edo, Benue, 17 others in July. And state faced scrutiny over 620 billion ecological funds. And then we have at the mast of the Punch newspaper, Nigeria's reform push yet to reach masses. That's coming from IMF. 2027, firestorm as APC coalition battle for northern ADC leaders. And then we have ADC as the rider there. ADC accuses federal government of backroom deals with northern leaders. APC fumes. Wow. Ladoja next in line as tributes flow in for late Olubadan. And then we have at the foot of it all, Kenya anti-government protests leave 10 dead, dozens injured. U.S. Embassy begins screening Nigerian students' social media accounts. ASU branches suspended lectures over delayed June salaries. Senate praises for showdown as Natasha plans return today. Quickly, let's see what we have on the Daily Independent.
Right in the front of the Daily Independent, we have fuel subsidy cut savings are being reinvested, coming from our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, assures of Gulf commitment to transparency, fiscal prudence, as lawmakers demand stronger oversight, accountability. Okay, other stories, how Nigeria can unleash its economic potential by IMF. No plans to explore nuclear weapons technology, coming from the presidency. Kayamo inaugurated Enugu Air, says Mba among the best is triumph of vision, beginning of aviation hub Mba, and I think that's the picture in front of that in the Daily Independent newspaper. Kudos to Enugu State there. Tinubu's tax reforms to transform Nigerian economic space. All right, that's the much you can take for want of time. Quickly.
All right. 20 states at risk, despite 620 billion intervention. There are certain things that you hear in a country like Nigeria, and deep inside your tears will just come tears of laughter. Because since 1979, I came across a newspaper from 1979, and I saw an issue of salaries. 1979, how many states did we have then? Not up to 30 states. Because the states increasing to 28 and then 30 happened in Babangida's time.
Regime.
And you hear the same stories every time. Now, I've been asking this question. If you go from top to bottom to solve the problem, the bottom would have finished everything before you come down. Then you go from bottom to top. Even the bottom side that you're coming from will be gone before you even go to the top. There is a problem. We have to go, it has to go 2 ways. Come from the top and you're going down. Some other people will be coming from the downside and they're going up. Which brings me to the issue. Salary, every time, 620 billion naira intervention, 20 states at risk. I remember when it was rampant, some states cannot pay salary. And I asked people the question, is the function of local government chairmen? What is the function of state governors? Everything, the president. Some people are so lackadaisical, some people are so uninformed, some people are so nefariously wired in their psychosomatic physiognomy, in their neurocraniums, and they don't even know exactly what it is that happens in the country. Everybody's blaming. Now, if you see the allocation that goes to local governments every month under the President Tinubu administration, monthly allocations were multiplied by some states 150%, some states 100%, some states 200%. Yes, it happened. And then you wonder, where is the money going? Why are we?
All right. I think you need quickly to also look at this topic: fuel subsidy cut savings are being reinvested, and talked about assurance of commitment to transparency, fiscal prudence as lawmakers demand stronger oversight, accountability. At the same time, you're looking at 20 states at risk, despite.
All right. For fuel subsidy being reinvested, the average Nigerian mindset, the average Nigerian sense, the average Nigerian man does not believe in theories. The average Nigerian man believes in practical. Oh, okay, it's being reinvested. Oh, we are making extra 10 trillion. Oh, that's nice. Where's the money? What is the money being used for? So until we see
the impact on the common man.
Until we see, we will not see. So to the governor of Enugu State, I say congratulations to him. Then ASU branches suspend lectures over delayed June salaries. It's another funny thing as well. Funny. You see, one thing that I keep telling people in this world, in this country, Nigeria, in Africa as a continent, and West Africa as a microcosm in a macrocosm, what I always tell people is that, you see, if priorities are not misplaced, if priorities are set, so many calamities that have bedeviled this country for a month of Sundays will not be happening. It is very unfortunate that ASU strike has been occurring for over 40 years in this country. And okay, the recent strike, IPPIS, UTS, salary scale and all those things. I wonder, some lecturers have even come out to say that there are senators who collect 14 million or 18 million. And senators have responded to them. If you like it, come and pick from around for Senate. The position is open to everybody. Why are you there criticizing us?
Okay.
The issue is that the Nigerian ship of state has misplaced priority. I keep using that day that the power holding company of Nigeria wanted to go on strike. Only 4 hours, and they were attended to. Why? Because when you close power, when you close where the money comes from, when you close where the income comes from, everybody will be placed at a standstill, and they will have no choice but to respond to the complaints, to the grousities, and to the things that you are saying.
All right, if actually they could do that, they could also attend to other issues. All right, let's see the Vanguard newspapers now. In 2027, presidency plotting to destabilize us. We've seen that in so many other papers. Now, flood destroys 500 houses in Kogi community. I think these Kogi communities, they need attention because it's not the first time. Okay, NDDC at 25, Tinubu has funded commission more than previous government, Obuku speaking. Tinubu, Makinde, Sultan, and others mourn as Olubada Oba Olakulehi dies at 90. Customs engages international airline operators on money laundering. MSC Tussle, police launch investigation as supporters of Sanusi Bayero clash in Kano. No rift between Buhari Tinubu. That's coming from Garba Shehu. All right, quickly, the next paper.
The next paper for review this morning is This Day newspaper. And we have, at the mast, CBN directs banks to submit capital plans, gives 10-day ultimatum. And we have Shell, Total Energies expect first oil, gas production from $5 billion Bonga North for $550 million will better fields by 2027. Keyamo inaugurates Enugu Air, says Mba undoubtedly one of the best governors. And that's the much we have here. We have Tinubu urges BRICS as to rethink global governance structure as finance and health. Quickly, the Guardian newspaper is up next for review. Fiscal inefficiencies erode Naira's prospects despite weakening dollar. And we have opposition unity at risk as ADC leadership faces legal hurdle, collapse warnings. And then we have court jails 9 Chinese nationals over Ponzi terrorism scheme in Lagos. NDCC commits to improved mandate delivery. We've seen Keyamo inaugurates Enugu. Flood destroys 500 houses in Kogi community. Also, we have palace guards injured, police vehicle vandalized as hoodlums attack Sanusi's palace. Tinubu insists fuel subsidy unsustainable benefit only rich citizens. For how long will we keep hearing this without the presidency doing something about it? Courts, jails, 9. Okay, we've seen that. I think that's all we have on the front page of the Guardian newspaper.
I don't know, this issue of attack on palace, I keep wondering, people don't have regard for, some sacred institutions that are supposed to be sacred. When you talk about traditional leaders, they are supposed to be respected by all, and you hear things that ordinarily should not happen in the first place.
Yes.
And you begin to wonder, the kind of deaths our young people die these days, should that be attributed to lack of respect to constituted traditional, stools in our nation? Because it's not just in Kano. It happened even here. People no longer have respect or regard for the elders, for our traditional stools, to the extent of attacking a palace.
All right. The sacrosanctity and sanctimony of sacredness that exists in those institutions, when they are bastardized, when they have become victims of logoheroic megalomania, when they have become victims of egregious corruption, when they have become victims of nonsensical regurgitations that put the future of both the unborn generation and the present generation in jeopardy, such things happen. That's one side. Number 2, the moral decadence, the backward reasoning, and the decay, the gangrenous and putrefactive tendency of today's society is also a recurring decimal, a factor enhancing this issue. There was a time when culture, custom, and tradition were revered or was revered.
Held in high
esteem. Everybody feared certain things. Even though in actual sense, most of the things that we dread, we don't eat this, we don't eat that, can this here, most times people actually respected these things before. But what is happening now tells us that we need to go back and ask questions. We need to go back and ask questions. What went wrong? What went wrong? What happened to the sacredness of this? What happened to the holiness of this? What happened to the supremacy of this? And where did the gods come from? From where did the gods come? These are things that you should ask. When you do, either the youths were not tutored, they were not placed under pedagogic peregrinations to understand and decipher categorically with categoricity the importance of those things and the sacredness and supremacy of them, or that people who occupied those positions did something nasty, did something that jeopardized their future, and out of anger, out of pestiferous and vexatious tendency, they decided to react.
All right, quickly, let's take the last two papers before we wrap up for want of time. Daily Trust, 23 months after, queues persist at CNG dispensing points. Military bombs, terrorist enclaves in Borno, Olibado. We've seen that 10 die in fresh anti-Ruto protest in Kenya. 70 vigilantes feared killed in bandits ambush in Plateau State. Sanusi Bayero supporters clash. Okay, we've seen that flood rainstorm destroy 500 houses in Kogi, KB communities. Disquiet over moves to create new emirate chiefdoms in Bauchi. And the next paper, the last but not the least, the blueprint, no going back on nuclear test ban in Nigeria. That's coming from the VP Shatima. Mogaji turned to Ladoja as Olubado. Okay, that is at 90. Okay, savings from fuel subsidy removal. Okay, we've seen that story before. Now, police rescue 35 kidnapped victims in Niger. Ola Aina signed new 3-year contract with Nottingham Forest, and that's just about it. Quickly, you take a look at some of these stories before we begin to wrap up the show.
Police rescue kidnapped victims, 35 kidnapped victims in Niger. That's nice. Very nice. You see, insecurity. General Sani Abacha said, any insurgency that lasts more than 24 to 48 hours, some government officials are aware of it. You see, as far as I am concerned, the same people, the same umbrella, the same canopy, the same mansion, the same edifice houses every criminal that we have had in Nigeria. What has been happening? Why do they seem different? They are just changing their names. Bandits, headsmen, Boko Haram, all of them, they are just changing their name. I believe that the day top ruler, not just government at the top, who are supposed to be suzerains of the law and order in their respective terraformers, not just those ones. If everybody, the council chairman, the mayors, the vigilante leaders, the PGs, the kings, when they come together, the day all of them come together and say enough is enough to this rubbish, that is the day it ends. If it doesn't, we will continue to play. We will continue to hover. We are going to continue running around in plenty of directions and in no particular direction. Then, the issue of CNG, compressed natural gas. 23 months after, queues persist at CNG dispensing points. You know, I'm still studying the CNG thing.
Do we even have it in Oka?
I have not seen anyone. I have not seen. The presidency seems to believe that CNG is better than petrol and the rest of them. But the disadvantages of this CNG are the things that worry me. Though I'm still checking, I'm not really sure, so I don't want to say what I'm unsure of. There is this rumor that when you move, that when you're walking and there happens to be a clash, or maybe a crash, maybe when you hit something or hit another car, that the CNG explodes. But I'm just trying to check it though. But let's see how it goes. We have not seen it in Southeast here, even in Anambra. I've not seen anyone. But let's see.
All right. Our time, we don't have more time. Please.
Then, one more thing.
Quickly.
I am seriously interested. This opposition unity at risk as ADC leadership faces legal hot dog collapse warnings. You see, the problem of the Nigerian constitution, which has been of serious concern to citizens, concerned citizens, is the fact that loopholes were intentionally created by those that formed it. Now, when somebody is a trained crook, when somebody is born in mischief, an unrepentant, mischievous person, that person will just be looking at you as you're planning to oppose him, looking for where you have done loopholes. Now, what happened to the party constitution? Somebody has brought up another story that you must be in the ADC for so and so years before you can run. You must be this, you must be this, and you haven't done it. You will see tomorrow. You are going to have faction A of ADC, faction B of
it's
ADC.
Okay.
Then the North and South factor will come up.
We keep our fingers crossed until then. Let's keep watching what happens We all only pray for better days ahead for Nigeria and Nigerians. Would like to thank you so much.
I wonder who kept better days ahead.
Would like to thank you so much, Idubem, for your time this morning. And in fact, I call you, there's this Igbo saying, Ane Sineju, Ama. So thank you so much for your time. And this is where we're wrapping up the press review for now. We'd like to thank you so much for being a part of it. Do sit tight, for we have more coming on Good Morning Anambra.
Yeah, we are through with the press review. Up next is the discussion segment on Good Morning Anambra. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.